What if everything you've been told about loneliness is wrong? Most people see loneliness as something to fear, something to avoid at all costs. But what if loneliness is actually the key to unlocking the kind of abundance, both spiritual and financial, that most people only dream about? You see, Buddhism teaches us that what feels like isolation is often a path to self-discovery and, surprisingly, wealth. Yes, wealth. Imagine being able to transform those quiet, painful moments into a powerful source of inner strength, clarity, and even financial success. Curious? Let me show you how loneliness might be your greatest untapped resource. Today's mantra is, "In solitude, I find my true abundance." Comment below to activate this energy. Loneliness. It's that gnawing feeling that creeps up when the world feels empty, like no one gets you. But here's the thing, while loneliness can be dangerous if left unchecked, it can also become one of the most transformative states in your life. Think of it like a reset button for your soul, a moment where the noise of the world fades and you are left with the raw truth of who you are. This quiet space can actually lead to abundance if you allow it. It's often in this solitude where the seeds of wealth, both spiritual and financial, are planted. When you strip away the distractions, you open yourself to the flow of energy that leads to true abundance. You see, loneliness isn't about being physically isolated. It's more about feeling disconnected from your purpose. And here's where Buddhism plays a role. In Buddhism, they talk about detachment, not just from material things, but from expectations, especially the ones we place on relationships. When you start to let go of these expectations, it's like you unlock the door to a whole new world. Suddenly, the things that once seemed important, money, status, aren't your main focus. And ironically, that's when wealth starts flowing toward you. It's a paradox. In surrendering, you gain. Financial abundance often comes when you no longer cling to it. Think about how many successful people say their turning point came during their loneliest moments. Oprah Winfrey, for example, has spoken about the power of being alone with her thoughts before her big breakthroughs. It's in these moments that clarity happens. Instead of running from the loneliness, lean into it. Meditate, journal, or simply sit in silence for a few minutes a day. You'll start to see that it's not loneliness you're feeling, but a call to transform, to tap into that wealth of wisdom inside. But here's the kicker. Loneliness isn't just about introspection. It can also be the fuel that drives action. Think about it. When you're alone, you start to realize the areas in your life that need growth, whether it's financial, emotional, or spiritual. That's when you begin to make changes. Whether it's starting that business you've always dreamed of or investing more time into personal development, loneliness can be the gateway to wealth in every sense of the word. At the heart of loneliness is a deeper cause, one that goes beyond being physically alone. In Buddhism, the root of suffering often lies in our attachment to desires, whether that's craving for love, money, or recognition. We expect certain things from the world and others, and when those expectations aren't met, we feel isolated. It's not the lack of company that causes loneliness, it's the constant yearning for something more, something external to fill the void. But here's a secret. True wealth, whether financial or emotional, comes when we stop looking outward for fulfillment and start turning inward. Think about how many people chase financial wealth, believing it will solve all their problems, only to find themselves more isolated than before. They buy the big houses, the fancy cars, but deep down, they're still craving connection. In Buddhism, there's a teaching that if you cut the tree of suffering at the surface, it'll just grow back. You have to dig deep and address the root cause, which is our endless desire for more. Once you release this attachment, something magical happens. You create space for genuine abundance to flow into your life, both in terms of money and relationships. This doesn't mean you should abandon your financial goals. On the contrary, financial success often follows when you align with your inner peace. Imagine approaching your financial situation from a place of calm detachment rather than desperation. You're no longer chasing money. Instead, it's attracted to you. When you understand that suffering stems from your internal expectations, you start to see that wealth isn't just about money. It's about living a life free from the constant need for more. And paradoxically, that's when the financial abundance you've been seeking starts to manifest naturally. Think about the Buddha's teachings and how they apply to modern life. It's not about rejecting wealth, but understanding that the true richness of life comes when we let go of the need for external validation. Whether it's financial or emotional abundance, it starts from within. You don't need to sever yourself from the world, but you do need to sever yourself from the idea that your happiness depends on it. From there, real wealth, both the financial kind and the wealth of peace, will follow. Buddhism often uses metaphors to explain the complexities of life, and one of the most powerful is the metaphor of the tree. Think of suffering like a tree. If you only cut away the branches, it'll grow back. The roots are what need your attention. The same goes for loneliness. People often think they can cure their loneliness by filling their lives with temporary distractions, buying things, seeking relationships, chasing financial success. But just like trimming the tree's branches, these surface solutions don't last. The loneliness, much like the tree, will keep coming back unless you address the root cause. Now imagine the tree as representing your financial state too. Many people try to fix their financial struggles by cutting expenses here and there or taking on extra work. While these actions might provide temporary relief, they don't address the deeper issue. The real root could be a mindset that's blocking your abundance. Maybe you were taught that money is hard to come by or that you don't deserve wealth. These deep-rooted beliefs keep the financial struggle alive, just as unaddressed suffering keeps loneliness thriving. If you truly want wealth, financial and emotional, you need to dig deep, uproot the limiting beliefs, and start fresh. Buddha's wisdom reminds us that when we only focus on surface-level problems, we're doomed to repeat them. Picture a tree in your mind. If you were to dig around the roots, you'd see they stretch far beneath the surface, entangled and complex. Your beliefs about wealth and abundance are just as deep. You can't expect to find true financial freedom by pruning the obvious branches like cutting spending or switching jobs. It's about transforming the way you think about money and abundance, seeing it as something that flows naturally to you once your roots are healthy. This metaphor isn't just theoretical, it's practical. Start by journaling about your relationship with money. What beliefs did you inherit from your family? What fears or anxieties do you have about wealth? Uprooting these thoughts might feel uncomfortable at first, but just like pulling out a stubborn tree root, it's necessary for new growth. And here's where the loop continues. When you take time to reflect on these deeper issues, you'll discover that loneliness too begins to fade as you align more with your true self and purpose. The tree of suffering can't grow where there's inner abundance. Loneliness can feel like a curse, but what if it's actually an opportunity in disguise? In Buddhism, moments of solitude are seen as openings for self-reflection and growth. When you're alone, it's not a time to fill the void with distractions, but a chance to dive deep into your own soul. This space allows you to explore who you truly are without the noise of external expectations. Instead of fearing loneliness, you can use it as a gateway to unlock new levels of abundance in your life, whether that's emotional, spiritual, or even financial wealth. Think about the times you've been alone with your thoughts. Often it's in these moments that ideas, insights, or even solutions to financial problems come to you. That's because in solitude, the mind quiets down and clarity can emerge. This is the kind of space where million-dollar ideas are born. Rather than running from the silence, lean into it. Meditate. Take walks in nature or simply sit in stillness. You'll be surprised at the breakthroughs that happen when you stop resisting loneliness and start embracing it as a fertile ground for growth. Loneliness also gives you the opportunity to assess your goals. When you're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to be influenced by their opinions on wealth, success, or life in general. But in solitude, you get to ask yourself, what does abundance truly mean to me? Maybe it's not just about financial gain, but about a wealth of experiences or emotional fulfillment. When you align your goals with your inner truth, the financial wealth often follows naturally because you're no longer chasing someone else's dream, you're creating your own path. And here's where the loop connects back to everything we've discussed. Loneliness isn't the enemy, it's an ally. It gives you the space to uproot limiting beliefs about wealth, reassess your goals, and create the foundation for a life of true abundance. But this journey of transformation in loneliness isn't over. It ties back to one of the greatest spiritual figures, the Buddha, who turned his own isolation into an incredible opportunity for enlightenment and self-improvement. That's where the real story begins. The story of Buddha offers one of the most profound lessons about the power of solitude. After leaving his royal life behind, Buddha faced abandonment, isolation, and extreme loneliness. But instead of succumbing to despair, he used that solitude to transform himself. He meditated for days under the Bodhi tree, not seeking wealth or power, but wisdom. Through this process, he discovered that true wealth isn't found in material possessions, but in inner peace and understanding. This is a powerful lesson for anyone feeling lost or alone. Loneliness can be the starting point for your own personal transformation. Think of Buddha's time alone as a metaphor for your journey. Just like Buddha, you might find yourself in periods where it feels like everything familiar has fallen away, whether it's a job, a relationship, or even financial stability. But in these moments of isolation, the opportunity to reshape your life presents itself. It's in these quiet spaces where you can realign with your true purpose. What if, instead of viewing loneliness as a curse, you saw it as the universe giving you the space to work on yourself? That's where the true abundance lies, whether it's spiritual wealth or financial prosperity. Even in modern life, many successful people have gone through a period of isolation before their breakthrough. Steve Jobs, for instance, spent time traveling and reflecting before creating the revolutionary Apple products. Buddha's personal journey reminds us that loneliness is not the end, but the beginning of something far greater. In solitude, you can focus on improving yourself, whether it's through learning, meditation, or working on that business idea that's been on your mind. These moments are when you plant the seeds for future abundance. And as Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree, the answers you seek, whether about wealth, purpose, or happiness, often come when you're alone. So, the next time you feel lonely, remember that this solitude could be your opportunity to achieve the kind of financial and spiritual wealth you never thought possible. But this is just one piece of the puzzle. There's more to explore about how to handle loneliness and use it as a tool for transformation. Have you experienced this kind of loneliness before? What have you learned from it? Thank you, and have a wonderful day.